Maybe we can get it up higher and we'll get rid of some of that light. There. Ooh, but I'll tip it over. It keeps tipping over. I guess that's what we're going to have to live with. And we'll wait to see if anybody wants to come in. Hello. Are you happy, reptar? We started at 10 o'clock this morning on the cage. He's been back in it about 5 minutes. Went and hid in the corner and tore up the corner. Still got some smear on the glass. Yeah, I know. Everything's new in there, moved around. It's all been scrubbed. I think it'd be cheaper to replace those plants next time. Scrubbing every leaf took me an hour. But I was getting so bad I couldn't take it. Even though it took me all day, it was worth it. Everything but his big heat rock, I can't get to that. It's too heavy. Hey, Trump said. And I put him back in. He's the calmest thing you ever handled. I mean, literally, if you put your hand under his belly and support him, he don't really care what you do. But he dove into the back corner there and turned over his skull and was digging at the bottom. And I finally decided, that's my perch. But I started at 10 a.m. this morning scrubbing, disinfecting, bleaching. As far as the glass on the inside, you have to use a special amphibian germicide. And then you got to air it out. And it smears. It doesn't like to clean much. But I got most of it clear. Several trips and mini rests, but you get sick of looking at it. Thanks for the like. It's supposed to be the amphibian disinfectant is supposed to be done weekly. Um, yeah, I don't manage that. When I was getting around better, the entire cage got to clean every 2 weeks, and every other week between there, I'd clean the outside glass and flip over the green pad. But today, I soaked and scrubbed all the skulls, all the components that go in there. Each one of those leaves got scrubbed individually and bleached and drained and soaked and rinsed. And they recommend it weekly. It's probably been 6 weeks since I've gotten to it last, and today was just finally I'm gonna have to deal with the pain. And I nothing but good things to say about Trump said. I love what Trump says. Yeah, he's like having a kid around, except we don't talk back. It's my youngest daughter. I have a picture of her when she got taken at 13 days old, sitting up on her own. It was a miracle photo at the Photoshop place. And I said, see, that's when I loved you before you could talk. So he can't yap like a dog. He remains steadfast in his Fifth Amendment. Yeah, it was something I knew was my future, but I chose working 2 jobs and putting my kids through college. And my pain clinic doctor said he wrote a whole page on me called Workers' Arthritis. But when I was in college and took weightlifting, it's all about the physiology of the structure of the body. So I knew all about overdoing it, pushing it, never sleeping, never healing. My first ruptured disc was diagnosed at a doctor at 18. I've had several since, never been hospitalized or lost work because of it. But it just builds, it makes it tough. Yeah, as soon as I can put my brain into a mechanical body, I'm going for it. I'll leave the rest behind, including my wiener. No, they say pain's all in your head, so I guess it really wouldn't matter, would it? If you took your brain with you, you're going to hurt anyway. But it's there to tell you to stop, and you just ignore it, and you pay for it in the long run. I would literally be the bionic man. I mean, I had 3 surgeons that were in surgery for 3 hours, which is a total of 9 hours of surgery just for my right shoulder. And all they did was clean it and scrape it. They're like, you ready for the next? I'm like, we're done. Won't see you guys ever again. We'll definitely be the $1 billion man. The price of hips and spine and oh, since your heart attack, I wouldn't go that route just to attempt to lose the pain, but I can block most of my pain. And like I said, once you've had your first ruptured disc and you're just 18, you have to learn to compartmentalize that pain and shove it back and just keep going, not let it affect how you are and who you are. They've been telling me I'm going to have a heart attack my whole life since the first time I had my blood pressure taken. They're like, you have really high blood pressure. I said, Went to one doctor for 6 months. He had an office next to my where my wife worked for two attorneys. I had my blood pressure taken every day for like 5 days a week for 6 months. And he says it's called the bile hypertension. It has to do with your level of fear and it goes up and down. If I drive, I will not, I guarantee my blood pressure is 150, 160 over 120. It's crazy because they have so much trouble seeing that it just, you have to stay in a heightened alert. Your adrenaline's flowing, your blood pressure goes up. However, I'm almost 60 now, and like 2 years ago, I had him do an EKG, and the nurse that did it spent like a half an hour going around, and her assessment, they can't give you a diagnosis, was it's very unremarkable. My heart's just completely normal, even though I've had extremely high blood pressure. But now that I'm more sedentary, I do take my blood pressure pills. They have a water pill with them because the water just settles in my legs. And I take them religiously, even though I won't go to the doctor anymore because I don't have insurance and I can't afford Medicare. So I do my own physical therapy. For God's sakes, I've had it long enough. Been enough physical therapy over the years. I probably would have a packet about an inch thick, all the papers they give me. So I stretch the joints. I don't lose stretching. I get to the water every chance I can get because, man, I could bring myself back to be walk without the walker if I could get in the water again. But getting in and out of the river is hard. And once you get in, you don't want to get out. You've taken 1/6, your weight's down by 1/6. There's more external pressure to help you just to stand up. And once you walk out, you're 6 times heavier. It don't seem fair. Checking it out, Reptar? He's really pissed that they stopped carrying lizard food, but they carry turtle food. And it's amphibian food, so it doesn't matter. Uh, he saw the label, saw the turtle, now he don't want to eat it. So he just digs his romaine lettuce. I got to get him some more mealy worms. But he's in the process of trying to shed. That's why he's so dark. The outside layer is actually not attached really anymore. A good swim would help him out. And you're getting a good shot of his deformed back leg. See how he doesn't have a proper foot? I'm not sure if it was an injury at birth or what. Yeah, you can get them fishing worms, but you got to be real careful. They need to be I don't know. All right, I'm gonna say it. They have to be organic. They can't have anything grown like worm farms have chemicals and antibacterial in the fluid that they grow them in and in the soil. So it's got to be. You can't go like dig your worms up out of the yard and give them to them because actually it'll make them sick. So if you get out into nature, out in the middle of the woods where they don't spray anything or have anything, I think I could probably get those worms because they technically would be organic. Okay, organic fish worms. But I've given him live mealworms that crawl around. They're about an inch long. I've given him the little brown crickets. Ooh, he's trying a different stance. He will knock that grass off. It will not hold him. He'll try and hook his claw onto the rubber suction cup, and once in a while he'll do it to that one up on the top and get one claw to there and release the suction and go wham down onto the bottom. Last time he did it, he didn't even wake up. Slept right through it. Yeah, we used to put a couple of our rabbit cages out back behind the barn and let them shit for a while. And we would get some earthworms that were a foot long. You'd get one worm and go fish all day with it, cutting it up into pieces. Of course, we were fishing for 2 and 3 inch bluegill. That was the only thing alive in the lake. Not like up north. That was Ohio. Man, go up north, we'd turn logs over in the woods and pick grubs and bugs and everything we could find to fish up north, man. You get some nice crickets or a couple grasshoppers, and you'll get yourself a nice brook trout or brown trout. Oh, what a meal! Yeah, right. Shit's awesome for worms. Well, they grew, man. You don't eat this late at night, so you're not hungry. You're just getting used to your new quarters, which are the same quarters as before. Just don't have the mental capacity. It's like living with a woman. Oh, I might have to bleep that part. Well, that's why I haven't been going live feeding them. Is the cage gets so dirty. I hate. Oh, every kind of fishing. I mean, I loved ice fishing. Yeah, by now he would be sound asleep up in the top of the hammock. But since I took all day to clean the cage and he's been inside the drawer for an hour and a half, he's a little active with his whole surroundings being changed around. Yeah, he always gets a little more active. But I usually do it early in the morning, so he's used to it by night. But it took all day to do a good job today. Yep, 6 years old. My dad had me out on a bay of Lake Michigan, freezing my ass off, pulling in pike that were longer than me. When the flag would flip up too many times, we'd drop down the little minnows and handfuls, and it'd be a little school of jumbo perch, 8, 10, 12 inches long. And then in the evening, we go up to Crystal Lake and walk 2 miles out to the shanty and fish for smelt all night. Oh, they were Crystal Lake had the hugest smelt, 10 inch long, 9, 10 inch smelt. Oh, I loved pike fishing. I continued that right up until I couldn't fish anymore. I spent years on Saturday morning with my now ex-wife's family. They used frozen smelt and Swedish hooks, and I used live bait. And between their 12 tip ups and mine and my kid or grandpa's, my father-in-law's tip ups, we'd have four, they'd have 12. We always ended up with the same amount of fish. And until I cooked them for them one day, they would always give me their fish. But we took a trip up to somebody's private lake and caught a nice mess of pike, and everybody was drunk. And like, why don't we eat and hang out a while? And they're like, what are we going to eat? I said, why not eat pike? They're like, ah, yeah. It takes about 5 minutes to fillet a pike into 4 slices around the bones and then the two tail slices. And once they watched me do it and fried it up and ate pike, they never offered me the pike again. In fact, they never took me fishing anymore. But there were about 6 years there. I'd take 3 or 4 pike of theirs home every Saturday and have 5 or 6 pike. Ugh. And a few perch to go with it. Yeah, you can fish right in the town of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Well, it's actually called East Grand Rapids. It's attached, but they got a lake, Reed's Lake, that you can go catch 8, 10 pound pike in right in the city limits. Most of the people fish for the small perch and the specks that are out there, but we fished for volume. We fished the rivers in the spring for the trout, and in the fall for the salmon. Perch all year long, pike in the winter. Whatever we could harvest by the coolers. Smelt whitefish on the big lake in the winter. There was on Crystal Lake, it blows the snow off, so it's like all just ice most of the year. And we would perch fish for jumbo perch, and they don't school up. They just kind of meander around 40, 60 feet of water. And we figured out this way to set a little hand pole without rigging it all the way through the end eye. You only rig it through the one middle eye, setting it over the hole, and dragging the line back and freezing the bobber to the ice about 20 feet away. So the minnow would be just off the bottom. The bobber's about 20 feet away from the hole with 40 feet of line. And we would all put the tip or the hand pole spread all out, and we'd stand in the middle, and you'd hear that bobber go all the way across down into the hole. That perch would just be run. You get a nice 16-inch perch or 12, 13-inch brown. And you get 5 or 6, that's enough to feed a family of 7. Oh man, some of the fishing trips we took were crazy. Carry the boat through a half a mile of rattle trap. Hi, buddy. Carry the boat through half a mile of swamp up to your waist. You're full of muck and mud and yuck, and you get in the boat. You fish like all night long for bullheads, so then you got to drag the boat back through the swamp. Yeah, that's fishing. But Michigan is full of so much water you can't hardly spit without hitting water. My daughter lives 9 minutes from my doorway to her doorway, and I have to cross the river twice to get there on bridges. Back before the bridges, boy, that'd have been a half a day travel to get a mile and a quarter. Actually, I have a town attached to the towns that are all right around here called Ferrysburg because they had a ferry to save cars like 45 minutes travel. Now they have a bridge. Reptar, you're not going to be able to sustain yourself up on that corner that way. But good luck. First notification got an ages. Well, I haven't went live for a while because this cage was so filthy. I was ashamed of myself. But see, you can't get it. Oh, he has gotten so big. He is more than twice the size he was when I got him from my grandson. But you can see his skin's wrinkled, so he's not fat. That's what the vet said. There's actually a place I can fish on the Grand River, crosses a road, and they have a double wide bridge that runs across the whole thing that's got a wooden walkway along the whole inside of it that you can fish right off of it. And I mean, this is a quarter of a mile bridge. It's you can't see what the other people at the other end are catching. It's almost the curvature of the earth. No. But I can park and get there and sit in a chair and fish right off the walkway and not be in anybody's way, and they do that a lot. I told you. He wants to be absolutely as high as he can possibly get. And when I rehooked the hammock, the 2 pieces of rawhide are sticking out on the top this time. And I think with them there, he's not quite comfortable with it. Hey, Pajama on its passion. I see you're up. Boo. I'm trying to get a few minutes of video time before he gets his cage dirty again. After it took all day to get it the way it is. I still have to disinfect the sinks and wash myself. I hate having the responsibility. I have to take care of him, but I can't seem to get past the idea once the whole world goes to shit, he's my last meal. Aren't you? I have heard it mentioned, let me think. 3 different channels have put it out there. But March 4th, 2020, DeLand, Florida, a protest over the treatment of non adult people by the school system. I won't start a rumor about Punch and Pie being served because we don't want Cartman to show up. DeLand Courthouse. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work out. I was trying to read some of the laws in court. I'm having trouble finding court cases that help me, so it seems bogus. How do you think Trump feels? And it really is regional. You did. That's the problem. That's where they get you. You got to prove myself innocent, and it's going to cost me everything. I really think if the government loses, they should have to pay all the costs. They just want to intimidate you into being quiet. Well, you want me to throw you a tidbit of food? Once you found out it was turtle food, the first 2 days you loved it till you saw the little turtle picture. Want me to attack you with a few? Huh? There's even a couple mealworms in there. Tiny, but whatever. I mean, can't argue with the facts that the regional areas controlled by the different department or government bureaucrats end up with the results that are the same across the board. I mean, if California was flourishing with no homeless and New York was in the dumps with a bunch of, you could go that way, but when you try to do things democratic and not republic, it don't work. It's mob rule. And the bigger the government gets, the worse it is. But it was all known that this was the route the thing would take. We would only have our country as long as we were willing to keep it. Well, you did eat a couple bites, huh? You can't be in that pissed off of a mood. Just because I lock you inside a drawer, you don't like me? I know you need water too, but you don't drink water ever. And your cage is like 3 times cleaner than my house, so I don't have to have any more guilt about it. See how dark his head is? He's ready to shed. You're in full defense mode. Look at those whiskers. I give it up and go to bed. You throw me a light there, PJ. No? All right, fine. All right, we had enough of a break. Time to go clean me up, huh? and crawl up there and go to sleep. Oh, look how angelic you look in the light. Look, he's a chameleon. His face is invisible. And PJ didn't even take the opportunity to break into my live stream. Oh, I can see your eyeball. You suck, huh? That's why I don't audit. That first time a cop told me he had a call for service, I'd say, so is it going to be a head job or a hand job? Which service are you offering me? I just can't keep my mouth shut. Well, I'm sorry you're sick. Must be all that snow and nasty weather you have to put up with down there in Florida. It's, it's freezing. In Florida, oh, more of that global warming. I'm sorry, the science, that whole science kind is so insane that I can't believe it is only a political issue. It has no basis in reality. Carbon has nothing to do with temperature. There is no such thing as a greenhouse effect, and the math they use to it is a flat Earth and a flat sun and a constant temperature. Doesn't account for any curvature or nothing like that, and you can't reproduce a greenhouse effect in a greenhouse. I know. I worked in a greenhouse. You can't make it hotter than it's going to get. Oh well. I got to show its clean cage. I got to rant a little bit. It's like Dad said, if it's freezing, work a little harder. You'll stay warm. But I'm going to call it quits here. Thanks, guys. And what do we say, Reptar? We gone.